So we're gonna start the class now. Your online I already graded your midterm and it's already posted in D2L. So if you have any questions, and the key is also posted in D2L. So if you have any questions regarding with your online homework or with the midterm test and your grade in D2L, please let me know, because that is the grade that you have. So how do I grade your test? Usually, let's say this is your test. Usually I grade your test based on checkpoints. So if you see me putting checkpoints on it, means that you got it correct. If you see me putting X on it, means that you get it wrong. And then sometimes I comment something on it, like show me this or something else. And sometimes I put question marks on it, means that I do not know what you're doing. And then at the end there, I will put a -2 like here on the corner, on the side here. It means that this question you get 2 points off. And then on the corner of every test, let's say there's a corner here, I will add all your totals negative points. So if you have so this is a -2 and this is a -2 again. So in this case, I will put a -4 over here. So this -4 on the corner here that you see in your midterm test is the total of this page wrong. And then what do? Is I add all this total. I will add all this total up, and then I will over it by the total score. So this is how I grade your midterm. So make sure you know that checkpoint in my test means it's correct. X means it's wrong. A question mark means I do not know what you're doing. And then if you see a negative points next to some questions, means that you did not receive the full point, means you get 2 points deduction. And then at the corner of each page, you will see a negative number or a 0. If you get a 0, means that everything is correct on that page. If you get a -4, means that the whole page here is you got a total of -4. And then at the end, I will add all your points up. So you will get your everything. Do I share the screen? Do I share the screen? Oh no, I didn't share the screen at all. Oh, I was like, I feel so. Yeah, so I'm gonna point out again. Checkpoints means that you get correct. X means you get it wrong. Question mark means I have no idea what you're doing. -2 here means that this whole question you got a 2-point deduction. And then that's another -2 in this case. So on the corner side of on the right corner side of every page, you will see a total of your negative points. If you got 0, means that the whole page is all correct. So this one, you got a 2 negative points, -2 points. So the total is -4. And then what do is I add all these negative points on each page. And then I think the total of the midterm is 58. So if you have any questions, then I will subtract it from 58. So if you have any questions regarding with your test score, your midterm, your homework score, please go and check D2L because it's over there. The reason why I pulled out this syllabus, this is again your syllabus here, is I want to remind you guys about your finals. Your final is gonna be on chapter 3, 4, 5, and 9.1. 9.1 is actually very easy. So your final is going to be on this last, it's not in chapter 2 anymore. So 3, 4, 5, and 9.1. Chapter 4, we only do 2 sections, 4.1 and 4.2. Chapter 3, you have 4 sections, 3.1 to 3.4. Again, those students who come to take my finals, make sure based on your last name, A to E is December 14 on Monday, F to N is Tuesday, and then O to Z is Wednesday. And your final is going to be in the same classroom as your midterm, CBT 211. And the time is not 9:30. The time is at 8:30 to 10 o'clock. So again, your final is 1.5 hours. And again, if you want to come to the finals, if you want to come at 8 o'clock, okay, if you want to come to 8 a.m. for the review, so if you want 30 minutes, so please make sure you guys please come to, if you want the review session, go to come to 8 a.m. 30 minutes before the finals, and then you will have this. So again, put this in your cell phone because I have students that forget to take the finals, midterms. So make sure that, and your final is actually 35% of your total grade. So make sure you guys put it on your cell phone, put the time to and set a reminder to remind you guys that is a final. If you cannot come on the day that is written down here, let's say you should become on Monday, but you have something going on, please email me and let me know as soon as possible, either Tuesday and Wednesday. And if you cannot even come during these times or these days, then you will have to do a Zoom testing on the December 16th, the Wednesday. And the Zoom testing is at 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. And it's like a Zoom class like this, but this time I will watching you taking the test. So so there are 4 options here now. So please, if you cannot come on the time that you have to send me an email as soon as possible, because your final is on the I think 7 weeks from today. So so make sure you guys got this written down somewhere in your phone or somewhere else and set a reminder. Anyone have any questions with your finals? And now we'll talk more about the review of the finals when the semester getting towards the end. Maybe by close to Thanksgiving, I'll tell you where you review for your finals. All right, so good. So so these are finals, so make sure you guys know that. So next thing is talking about is 3.1. So 3.1 is talking about quadratic functions. So we will talk about quadratic functions in a standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is what we call as, no, this is called a quadratic function. It's not called a standard form. And when you draw the graph, it is a parabola. So when you do your parabola, you have to have an axis of symmetry. So what is an axis of symmetry? An axis of symmetry means that you have a parabola. The axis of symmetry is the one that cut the parabola into half. And this axis of symmetry is always x equals to h. And then it does have a vertex. A vertex is the minimum or the maximum. So if you have an open down upward, this is called open upward, you will have a minimum point, and the vertex in this case is hk. And the reason why I use h in this case is because this h should match with this h. Okay. And then you can also have a parabola that is open downward, and the axis of symmetry is also x equals to h. And your vertex now is a maximum with the coordinates of hk. Okay, so this is your this is what we call as open downward or outward. How do we know if your parabola is open upward or downward? It depends on your a. So remember, when you have a quadratic function, is ax squared plus bx plus c. So this a is the one that determines if you open upward or downward. If your a is positive, it opens upward. If your a is negative, it opens downward. Okay, and the a also will tell us how narrow and how skinnier it gets, because a in this case is your vertical stretch or vertical strength. So if the absolute value of a in this case is greater than 1, so this is going to be a narrow graph. Okay, and if your absolute value of a is between 0 and 1, then this graph will become wider. So what happened in this case is, so if you have normal x squared, let's say this is your parabola, and if you have 2x squared, then your graph will become narrow. This is 2x squared. And I'm going to draw my axis, my x and y axis. So this is my x and my y axis here. And if you have a cube 3x squared, then this graph will be getting even narrow. So if your A in this case is greater than absolute A is greater than 1, your graph is getting narrow, and the higher your number, your A is, the smaller it gets. What happens if you have 1/2 of x squared, then you will get a wider parabola, okay, because 1/2 is between 0 and 1. So that is the meaning of it. And same thing happens when you put a negative in front of them. It looks exactly the same, but it's going upside down. Okay, so that is your quadratic function here. A lot of questions in the homework is asking you to transform this quadratic formula into what we call as a standard form. Okay, so they want you to transform this quadratic formula into a standard form. And the reason why they want you to translate into standard form is because in standard form, you know your vertex HK. Okay, you know your vertex HK. That's the reason why that a lot of students, a lot of questions wants you to transform this into a standard form. And once you transfer this into standard form, you know HK, and HK in this case is your vertex. And then once you know your vertex, you also know your axis of symmetry. I just want to point out to students here is if you want to give me axis of symmetry, make sure you put x equals to. So a lot of students in your online homework, let's say your vertex here is 4, 5. And the students, then the question asks you what is the axis of symmetry, you put 4, they will mark you wrong. You should have put x equals to 4. So this x equals to is very important. Same thing happens in your finals. If you forget to give me x equals to, I will take ½ a point off. Okay. So my question is, how do we change these quadratic functions into standard form? In order for us to do this, you have to do what we call as completing the square. Okay. So that's first option, completing the square. And second option is to use the vertex formula. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to perform both of these. And then in the test, I don't care which one you use because your answer is going to be the same. Now, if you want to do the completing the square, which is the most difficult things that you will learn in this section, which a lot of students will not do it, they will use the vertex formula. If you want to do your complete the squares, you have to go through 4 steps. So the first step you need to go through here is you have to make the A to become 1. You have to make your leading coefficient become 1. If your A is not 1, then you have to divide everything here by A. Okay, that is your first step. You have to make the A by 1. The second step is you have to make all the fx and you have to move the c term over here. And your x term is on this side. Okay, so the second step is you move the c to the one side, and then your x term is on the other side. And then the third step is you take the b term that you have here over 2 and you square it. You will get a number. And this number you have to add on both sides of the equation. Okay. Fourth step is these 3 terms is when you factor it, it will be a perfect square trinomials. And then you will combine, you have to combine terms here because these are all numbers. So you will get fx equals to minus something because when you combine, you got these numbers. And then the fifth step, actually there's one more step, is make fx by itself. So you have to move this back over there. So this is what we call as completing the square. And this, you will get an H in here and you will get a K in here. So doing these 5 steps is tedious. Yes, it's difficult. I didn't say it's easy. There's no other, there's no shortcut to do computing square. This is the only way to do it. But there is a shortcut to do it. It's called a vertex formula. Now, this is a formula that you need to know. The vertex formula is given us by HK, your vertex, which is this HK that we have here. And the formula is given us by negative B over 2A, F of negative B over 2A. So this is the formula. So once you figure out your H and your K, you just plug in into this formula. Your A is the same as the leading coefficient that you have. So this A is going to be the same. So this is a very easy formula. And this formula will replace the completing the square. So far, you learned how to find your vertex. You also know how to find your axis of symmetry. I also teach you how to translate your quadratic function into standard form. Next thing you need to know is to find your x-intercept. In this chapter, we call it zeros. And in order for us to find the x-intercept, you have to set the f of x becomes 0. So in this case, you have to do the A. You can either take your standard form and make it equal to 0, or you can take the completing the square form, the ax minus h square form, and do that. Okay, so you can either do one of this, and you have to solve for x. If you have this form, you can do it by factoring, or you do it by doing the quadratic formula. If you use the one that is already in the standard form, then you can solve for x very easily, like you minus k divided by a and then take the square root and so on. I just want to point out to you here is if you take a square root, or if you have a quadratic formula, and if your root has a negative number inside, then your x-intercept does not exist. Okay, this is very important. This is finding your x-intercept. So this is mostly all your questions here asking you to do it. Okay, so I'm going to show you both ways how to do this. And then after that, it's your choice in your test if you want to use completing the square or you want to use the vertex formula. It's up to you because your answer is the same. Okay. One of the questions that students ask me a lot is this question number 14. This question 14, they ask you to write this equation in the standard form. Okay. So that means they give you the quadratic formula, the ax squared plus bx plus c. They want you to write in the standard form, which is the blue one here. So there are 2 ways you can do it. You can completing the square, follow these 5 steps, or you do your vertex formula. Okay. So I'm going to do both for these questions, so you guys know what to do when you do in your test. Up to you in your test which way to do. So I'm going to show you how to do this. This is quite. So yep. Does anyone have any questions so far? And yes, this is coming up in your finals, this question. Something like that. All right, so the first method we use is using the completing the square method. So because we have a 2 in here, so we have to divide everything here by 2 so that your x squared get 1. This is very important. And then, so that's your first step. Second step is to move this non-x terms to the fx. So what we have in this case is f of x over 2 minus 1/2 equals to x squared minus x over 2. So we are doing step 1 and step 2 in one step here. So that is first you have your leading coefficient has to be 1. 2, you have to move the constant term to the other side. Now step 3. Step 3, you need to know, you have to take your b and divide it by 2 and you square it. This is a part of your completing the square. And our b in this case is this. It's like slope. Okay. So slope in this case is negative 1/2. So your b in this case is negative 1/2. And you're gonna divide this by 2 and then you square it. Okay. So this is actually is the same thing as negative 1/2 divided by 2. And as you know that when you divide by 2, it's the same thing as multiply by 1/2. And then, so this is actually is negative 1/4. And you have to square this. So 1 square is 1, 4 square is 16, and negative become plus. So this number 116, you have to add it to both sides of the equation. So this is step number 3. Step number 4, these 3 terms that you see here can be written down as perfect square. That perfect square is x minus. The reason why you got minus is because this sign is a minus. If this sign is a plus, then you get plus. This number that you have here is you can take the square root of it, of 1 over 16. So the square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 16 is 4. So it's 1/4. Or it's the same thing as your b over 2 that you guys did early on. So these are the same. So it's up to you what you need to do on this, calculate how to do this, but they are the same. So you still have f of x over 2 here. Now you need to add and subtract this fraction. So 16 is an LCD, so I'm going to multiply this by 8, so to become 16. So this is going to be negative 7 over 16. So I combine these 2 terms together. So negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7 over 16. And the last step, the final step you have to do in this case is you have to solve for f of x. So in order for us to solve for f of x, you just need to move this negative 7 over 16 over 16. And then after that, you multiply by 2. So let's do that first. So you move that over there, so become plus 7 over 16. And then after that, you multiply that by 2. So you will get 2x minus 1 over 4 squared plus 7 over 8. The reason why this become 8 is because this also has to be multiplied by 2. So when you multiply by 2, you multiply by 2 for this whole square, and you also have to multiply 2 to the constant term. So this is your quadratic function in the standard form, which is a lot of work, right? Do you guys want to do this in your test? You guys want to do this in your test? You can do this. It's not wrong. It's still correct. However, that is also another way for you to write this in a standard form, which is going to be cutting this by 1/3, is to use your vertex formula. And your vertex formula is negative b over 2a, f of negative b over 2a. And this is your h, this is your k. So when you get this, using this completing the square, your h in this case is 1/4, and your k in this case is 7/8. Okay. Do not forget that your h, your sign has to be switched. So if you have a negative, it becomes positive. If it's positive, so your vertex in this case is 1/4. You have to switch inside, but your k remains the same. So if this is plus, this is a plus. If this is a minus, it is a minus. So make sure you know how do you find your vertex here. However, this is a shortcut. I'm going to show it to you. So this is the function that we have. F of x equals to 2x squared minus x plus 1. Again, this is your A and this is your B. So, so in order for us to find h in this case is negative b over 2a. So negative b is negative 1, so this becomes positive 1. 2 times a is 2, a is 2 here. So this is 1/4. And guess what? That's our h. That's how we figure this one out. Very easy. See the work that I'm doing? And then next we have to find the k. So how do we find k here is, what is this means? This means that whatever you found in your h, plug it in back in your x. So in this case, you have to figure out 2 times 1/4 squared minus 1/4 plus 1. So this is how you're going to, and your answer will came out to be 7/8. Now, I do not know you guys know how to use your calculators to perform fractions. Do you guys know how to use your scientific calculator to perform fractions? Mercedes, Eric, Justin, Young, do you guys know how to use this? Don't change to 0.25 because I do not want, I mean, 1/4 is 0.25, but in your calculator, there should be a button called ABC.
Yep.
So I want you guys, Eric, you know how to use your calculator to do it?
Yeah, it's at A/B/C.
Yep. So I want you guys to try to use your calculator to punch this inside your calculator, the whole thing, with the +1 behind. And you should get 7/8. I want you guys all to do it now. Take out your calculator. If you don't get 7/8, means something is wrong. If you get 7/8, means you get it right. So the reason why I want you guys to do it because it's coming up in your test, and I assume you guys are going to use this shortcut, vertex formula, instead of using computing the square. I don't think so everyone here would like to use computing the square, what we did in question, the first part of it, which is a lot of work. So go ahead and take out your calculator and punch it. Do you guys got 7/8? Good. And I believe you guys are going to use the vertex formula here, right? If you are smart enough, you use this, not the computing the square. If you go and watch the video, watch it, they will show you all this computing the squares part, which drive you crazy. But now you know how to, there's a shortcut to do it. Okay. Anyone here do not get 7/8? In class, I told you this is in your finals, right? That's why I want you guys to know how to use your calculator here. The ABC symbol. So what you do here, Kara, is you take 2 parentheses, 1, and then you press the ABC button. It become like this, like a little backwards L. And then 4, close your parentheses, and then you square it. That's how you do that. And then minus 1, ABC, 4, close your parentheses, this is your 1/4, and then +1. And then when you press enter, you will get 7 like this and 8, which is 7 over 8. Kara, do you go ahead and try it? So the ABC is the one that you press, you got this backwards L like this. Right? You guys got it? You guys good? So once you get your H and your K here, then you can write this as your standard form. Fx equals to A. Now, what is your A here? Your A is this A. Remember the A that you have early on? That's your A.
Yes.
So that will be 2. X minus H. This is your H. 1 over 4 square. And then your K is the 1 over there. And this f of x is the same as this one. They are the same. Okay. So with this, we know your standard form, which is this here. 2x minus 1 over 4 square minus 7 over 8. Anyone know? So you guys okay here with this quadratic standard form here? Who wants to use this way, the first method? Anyone wants to use the first method? I don't think so. I wouldn't think so. You guys like this method. A lot of you will pick this. In the test, I really recommend you to use a vertex form. Okay. Next, we have to figure out your graph. Your graph is based on your vertex. Since my vertex is 1/4 and 7 over 8, both of them are positive. So your vertex is in quadrant 1. So your answer will be this one because this is in quadrant 1. This is in quadrant 2. This is in quadrant 4, and this is in quadrant 3. So this is in quadrant 1. And the vertex is 1 over 4. And then 7 over 8. Okay, so that is your vertex that we talked about early on. Okay. Kara, so what you do here is the A that you find out here, that is your A. This H that you found out 1/4, you put in here. The K, you put it over there. And that is your standard form in this case. So A comes from the question, H comes from the whatever the negative B over 2 you get, and K comes from this calculated word that you get. And that's how you get your standard form here. Okay. Axis of symmetry is X equals to 1 over 4, which is this H. Again, class, in your finals, if you just give me 1 over 4, same thing in your homework, they will mark you wrong. So make sure you give me X equals 2. And now you have to find your x-intercept. So in order for us to find your x-intercept, either you have to make your equation here, your original equation equals to 0, or you make your standard form equals to 0. And the easiest way is definitely making the standard form equals to 0. So this is how you're going to find your x-intercept. But you can also look at your graph first before you do this. Because if you look at your graph, this is your graph. Do this graph cross on the x-axis? Do this graph cross on the x-axis? And since this graph does not cross on the x-axis, is DNE. So sometimes it's very easy when you find your x-intercept is look in your graph. So if you have graph like this graph and this graph, your x-intercept is DNE because it does not cross on the x-axis. But if you have these two graphs, it does cross on the x-intercept, and there are two of these answer. So you have to find those two answers. I think you can read it from here. I think it's -1 and 1. Yep, -1 and something else. So you have to, no, this is not 1. This is like 0.5, -1 and 0.5 here. So, so when you look at this graph, you can tell that sometimes you do not need to do it. But if you want to do it, you can set this equals to 0 and you solve for it. The first thing you do is you move that 7/8 over here. This has become negative. And do you know what happens when you take a square root of this fellow and you got a negative? So your x-intercept in this case is the NE. So you can tell that where sometimes using this, once you find out your square root is a negative, this is the NE in this case. You guys all right here? Okay, so I want you guys to go ahead and do question number 15 now on your own. Okay, do question 15 on my 15, not your 15. Oh, this is wrong. Oh, I forgot to put a plus. Sorry about that. This is a plus. The rest is good. Why that is wrong? It should be correct. Everything should be correct. Correct. Everything should be correct. Okay. All right. I want you guys to go ahead and do question number 15. This is question 15. It's up to you what you want to do. I want you to find the vertex. I want you to question 15. I want you to find the standard form. You can. I don't suggest you guys to do this number, the completing the square. I will recommend you guys to do the vertex formula. So go ahead. I want you guys to go ahead and do question 15 now, using the vertex formula. If you want to do the completing the square, you're going to spend a long time here. Tell me, what is your H? What is your K? Private message me. Everyone, please do it because it's in your finals. I told you, right? I don't know how many of you guys pay attention when I say this is in your finals. If you are smart, take out a piece of paper and write final questions. Write down these questions. So when you guys do my finals in December, then you know that, oh, David Liu is doing this. And you can always tweak the questions. Instead of 1/3, you can change to 1/2. Instead of 3x, you can change to the rate one that you see, the rate numbers you see in this question, you can change those numbers. 3 become 4, 6 become negative, 6 become -2, or whatever number you want to use. Yeah, tweak it. Yep. This is how you practice. All right, go ahead and find the HK for me. I'm going to do it on the side here. -b/2a. Yep. Private message me. Your HK. I just need to know your HK in coordinates. So I want HK like that. Make sure you use your calculator and use your ABC symbol like what I teach you just now, because it's all going to be fraction. Yes, in your test, it's all going to be in fraction. Yep. And if you need questions, just let me know because I can help you. You can unmute yourself. Put in the chat room.
David?
Yes, Mercedes.
Oh, this is
No,
Kara.
Kara, I'm sorry, Kara.
I'm so confused on how to enter into the calculator a whole number divided by a whole number multiplied by a fraction.
Do you have an ABC symbol?
I do, yes.
So let's, can you give me an example of a whole number?
Oh, I was just doing this like the negative b divided by 2a.
Mhm.
So I had inserted negative 3 and then divide that by 2 times a, which would be negative 1/3.
Okay. So it's negative 3 divided by what? Negative 2/3, right?
Yep.
So what you do is you put parentheses, a negative 2, and then you use your ABC, and then 3. And then when you press, you will get like 4, 1, and 2, something like that. This is called a mixed number. This is 4 1/2. So if you get something, you will get 4 1/2. So what you do is, if you want to change it back to an improper fraction, you press second shift ABC, and that will change into 9/2. You got it, Kara?
I think so. I'm just trying to play around with it.
This is 2 times negative 1/3, right? You say?
Yes.
So that's why you get a negative 2/3.
Okay.
Make sure you put them in parentheses. Yep. You guys gonna get this. Make sure you guys know how to do this. Use your calculator. The
I have a
ABCs.
question.
Who's talking now? Mercedes?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I found H, but I just want to make sure for F, would you basically plug H in for the
Yep.
equation f of x?
Yep. Plug this number, whatever you found H, into your X here.
Okay, thank you.
And then you will get a fraction. Use your, again, it looks something like what we did here. And your answer is a fraction. Make sure you guys know how to use your calculator, especially fractions. Yes, your calculator can do fraction. It's ABC, so I told you that. Anyone? I'm still waiting for your. Yep. I'm going to move this question a bit up so you can see the question. Too many things in my monitor. A lot of things. All right. Private message me if you get your HK. Justin, Eric, Yang Pao, Kara, Mercedes. Those who are not attending, good luck. I don't know some of those who don't attend. I know they watch my Zoom video or not. Still waiting. I already did your H already. This is your H. Yes, your H is 9/2. If your H is not 9/2, it's wrong. And if H is wrong, definitely K is going to be wrong. If you plug it in there. And now you need to plug 9/2 inside this X. I don't know, my calculator has a fraction ABC symbol. No, I don't think so. This one has an ABC symbol. I need to get a new. No. Get a new calculator to replace this. Computer calculator is always really bad. Doesn't have ABCC. So anyone know what to do? What's your HK? That long for you to plug 9/2 in X here to figure out your K? Hello? Okay.
I'm just confused just because maybe
Yeah.
I'm plugging it in wrong, but I keep getting 1/2.
Nope, 1/2 is not the right. For H or K?
H.
No, it's not right. The reason why you get 1/2 is because you did not put a parenthesis. Do you put parenthesis around here?
Around the B or the
Around the 2/3.
on the 2/3.
How do you put if you put -3 divided by 2 times negative 1/3, right?
Yeah, that's what I put in.
This is wrong
Okay.
because your calculator will do orders of operation. So you actually have to put another parenthesis here because you have to do the 2 times 1/3 first before you do the -3 divide. Mercedes, you got it correct. Mercedes, you're correct. Yes, Yang Pao, that is correct. That is correct, Yang Pao. So make sure you guys put an so make sure you understand when you do this. That's why I do not want to do this. I just put -2/3 because we know 2 times -1/3 is -2/3. So you just need to have a 1 parenthesis instead of double parenthesis here. Eric, you got it?
Not yet. I might be plugging something in wrong.
I wish I got a calculator. My calculator is a bit different from yours. So Mercedes and Yang Pao is correct. You got your HK correct. Mercedes even better, right? He should give you the whole function. Is that mostly this is all calculator piece that a lot of students struggle here. So I'm gonna get a new one here so you guys can see it. So this question, your H in this case is -B/2A. Yep. Kara, you should know how to convert this to 9/2, right? Without a calculator. 4 times 2 plus 1, right? This is pretty easy stuff. -B is -3. 2 times -1/3. So this is -3 over by -2/3. And this is -3 times, flip this fellow, -3/2. So this is where you get the -9/2. Okay, you have to plug all this in a -9/2 into your X here. So you do -1/3, -9/2 square plus 3 -9/2 minus 6. And how do you put this in your calculator? Is -1 ABC 3. That is just for this. This -9 ABC 2, and then you have to square it, plus 3 parentheses -9 ABC 2 minus 6. So it's exactly what you see here. That's how you type it. You just need to change all this fraction. Yeah, 9/2 is, oh, sorry, positive. My bad. My bad. Thank you, Yang. How? My bad. It is positive. Thank you so much. Thank you, Yang Pao. So this is how you, and then you will get an answer here. And that answer is your K. So I do recommend you guys to suggest to go home and try this. And this you will get 3/4. So now we know the H, we know the K. So how do you write this in the form, in the standard form? Did we know what is A in this case? Your A should be -1/3 x minus h. H is 9/2. If this is a negative, then this would be a positive because 2 negative become positive, plus 3/4. So this is how we do this function here in standard form. This is where you're going to put in here. Next, what is your vertex? Your vertex in this case is HK, which is 9/2 and 3/4. Again, this is in quadrant 1. So which graph of this shows the vertex is in quadrant 1? Which one of these shows is in quadrant 1? Looks like it is also this one. This one should be in 9/2 quadrant 1. So your vertex in this case is this, 9/2 and 3/4. Axis of symmetry, x equals to 9/2. So don't forget to put x equals to 9/2. This one, if you look at this, it crosses on the x-intercept. So how do you find your x-intercept? In this case is you set this equals to 0. So in order for us to find the x-intercept, you have to set your equation becomes 0. So 0 equals to -1/3 x minus 9/2 plus 3/4. So first thing you need to do is move that 3/4 over, so become negative. And then next, we have to get rid of this -1/3. We have to multiply this by -3. So this will cancel out. So what we have in this case is 9/4 x minus 9/2 squared. And then in order for us to get rid of the square, I take the square root and do the plus minus. 9, the square root is 3, 4 is 2. The square and square root will cancel. So what you get is x minus 9/2. And then what you do here is you add 9/2 over there. So x in this case is 3/2 plus 9/2. Or -3/2 plus 9/2, because you got a plus minus, so you got 2 answers. So this gives me 6. 3 plus 9 is 12. 12/2 6. This gives me 3. -3 plus 9 is 6. 6 there is 3. So your coordinates for the x-intercept is 6, 0 and 3, 0. And don't forget, in your online homework, they want you to put the smallest one first. So in this case, the 3, 0 is the smallest one first. And then the 6, 0 is the one coming up. So make sure you know which one is small, which one is large in this case. So this is how you find your x-intercept using this function. Otherwise, you set this whole thing equals to 0 and solve for x using quadratic formula or something else, and your answer is still going to get 6 and 3. So I would strongly suggest you guys to really practice this. See the practitioner version. So I would recommend you to do it. Either question 16 or question 15 that we just do here. So make sure you guys practice another version because it's in your test. All right. Next is to graph. Question number 28. So I'm going to show you how to graph this. A lot of students doesn't know how to graph this kind of equations here. So we know this x squared is a parabola. So what you need to do first here is to click on this parabola that goes upward. And then we know by transformation or this -5 means you go down 5. So if you look at this graph will look something like this. This is at -5. So how do we do this is, so we click on here and then click on the -5. Click on this graph, click on, where's my code? What happens to it? Should be able to click. Okay, something wrong with this. Should be able to click on it. I'm gonna refresh this. Should be able to click on this and then it will make a parabola of it. 29, 28. So click on this, click on -5. Why this is not clicking? Something happens to my, wow.
Not my computer either, so.
Why this is not clicking? Wow, something happens. Y'all happens the same thing too? Beside Eric, anyone have tried this before? Mine works fine. Okay, maybe something is wrong. Beside Eric, anyone has the same issue as me? This is not, it's a computer issue here. It's not, usually I manage to click. So see if I can do another one of this. Okay, we'll see. Something is wrong. Beside Eric, anyone have this issue? That one works. I don't know what happens here. Usually I can even manage to draw everything. I cannot even do. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you here is, Eric, you have to talk to me after class. So what you do here in this case is once you click on the -7 example, you need to do another point. So what do you need to do is you have to plug x to become any number besides 0 because 0 is being used. So you have to plug 1. So plug 1 inside here and you got 1 squared minus 7, which become -6. So 1 -6. So in this case, you have to, so when you click this one and then you also have to click on 1 -6 and automatically they will draw you a parabola. Okay, so what I don't know what happens to mine. I'm probably to restart my computer. But anyway, so you have to click. First thing you have to do is you have to click onto this parabola, and then click on the -7, and then click on this 1, 6. So you have to click. You have to do 2 points in order for you to figure out. The first point is your vertex. So make sure that you have to use your vertex point. And the second point, you can take any number you want. Usually I pick 1, not 2. I mean, I can put 2 or 3. For negative, but I prefer 1, and then you find what is the other value is, and then you click on it, and then you're able to draw me the parabola. So so Kara, if it does not work, maybe a restart on your computer after that and see what's going on, because usually I don't know why. This is my first time that it does not work. So maybe I have to restart it. Okay. And the last question is 37. It's a circle. Okay. So the circle formula is given us by x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals to r squared, where your center of the circle in this case is hy, and your radius in this case is the square root of r. So given you this question, x minus 5 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals to 16 over 9. So we can figure out your center of the circle very easily, because this is your h and this is your k. And again, don't forget, in order for us to find your hk, both of these has to be opposite sign. So what do I mean by opposite sign in this case is if you have negative, it becomes positive. If you have a positive, it becomes negative. So what will be your center in this case? If I give you this equation. Center, HK. Anyone? H in this case is -5, but if you do the opposite sign, -5 will become +5. K is a +4. If you switch the sign, it becomes -4. So your center in this case is 5, -4. Your radius is based on this, so you have to take the square root of it. So you have to square root of 16 over 9. And 16 is a perfect square of 4. 9 is a perfect square of 3. So in this case, your center in this case is 5, -4. And your radius in this case will be 4 over 3. And in order for you to graph this, you have to look at what quadrant is your center belongs. So 5, -4, it looks like this quadrant 2, because 5 and negative is quadrant 4, sorry. So it's going to be this circle. So 5 and -4. This is your center right here. So this is how you do the last question on this section. Do you got it? In this case, Mercedes? You okay with that, Mercedes? Yep. So if Kara and Eric, if you cannot manage to do it, I'm gonna see if I restart my my computers or maybe refresh it or something else. That might be a problem. I'll check it again. And the last question we have 3.2. Anyone have any questions on 3.2? I got questions on 20. And then we'll see if you guys have any questions. So 3.2 on question number 20. They give you the zeros in this case, which is -4 and 6. And they will want you to write this in a polynomial function. So what you need to do first is you have to write this back in the factor form. And the factor form in this case is x minus k. So how do you write this in the factor form is x, again, the minus k, this is your k. So this will become +4. Again, you have to switch your sign. And then this will become -6. Okay. So first you have to write this in the factor form. The factor form is x minus k, where k in this case will be your zeros. And if you have 2 zeros, you have to do it twice. You have 4 zeros. Like this question 21, you got 3 zeros. You're going to do it 3 times. And then after that, you have to FOIL it out. So this will give me x squared minus 2x minus 24. So this is how we do this question. This is the answer that they're looking for, not this one. So you have to actually FOIL it out. So this will be x squared minus 2x plus 20, minus 20. Oops. So this is how we do this kind of questions. Anyone have any questions for me in 3.2 here? Anyone have any questions for me in 3.2? Like this one is crazy a lot. So when you do like question number 22, you have to do quite a bit of foiling in this case. So your factor for this will become x plus 2, that is for -2. X plus 1, this is for -1. 0 is just x. And then x minus 1 and x minus 2. So this, because you got 5 zeros, so you have 5 factors. So what you need to do here, if you have such question, is you have to FOIL this fellow first and FOIL the last fellow. So when you FOIL this fellow out, you will get x squared plus 3x plus 2. Let's still have the x here. And then you have to FOIL the last one out. You come x squared minus 3x plus 2. And then next, what you need to do is you have to distribute your x into one of these. So I'm going to pick the one at the back. So you will get x squared plus 3x plus 2 times with x cubed minus 3x squared plus 2x. So you are distributing the x here into one of them. And now you have to FOIL this again. So FOILing this is a bit more work because you're going to take the x squared and multiply to all these terms. So you will get x to the 5 because x2 times x3 is x5 minus 3x to the 4th plus 2x cubed. And then after that, you have to take the 3x and you're going to repeat the same thing. So 3x times x cubed is 3x4. So this is 3x4. I put it right below here because they are the same term. And then this will become negative 9x cubed because 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. And then 3x times 2x is 6x squared. And then lastly, you have to take the 2 and you have to multiply to those all three. So you will get a positive 2x cubed minus 6x squared plus 4x. And then after that, you combine like terms. That's your answer. So you got x5 here. These two terms will cancel. This will get a negative 5x cubed. This 6x squared will be canceled plus 4x. So this will be your answer for this question. Or question if you have this. So it's just a bit more tedious work of foiling here. So that's the reason why that it's not tough. It's just foiling in this case, a lot of foiling. And what happens if they give you like 1 0, but the power is 2? So if like the next question that you see here is they give you 1 0, which is x equals to -2, and your power here is 2. So if you write this in the factor form, you will just get x plus 2. However, because it has to be a power 2, then this fellow has to be squared. So that means that you will have 1 0, but this 0 is being repeated twice. And then when you FOIL this fellow out, that is your answer in this case. But what happens if I give you like number 24 when you have x equals to -3 and 8, but now you have a power 3. So for this case, you again write this in a factor form. Now we know that when you do this one you only have power 2. So to make it power 3, either one of these has to be squared. So you either square this and you FOIL all this out. That's your answer. Or you square the 8. So either way is fine. And this is how you get your answer in this case. So when you guys do this section, when they give you power 2, but you only get 1 0, make sure you square it. If they give you 2 0 and it's power 3, then one of these 0 has to be squared. And then you also have to FOIL like what we just did over here. So make sure you guys know how to do this kind of questions. I also very strongly suggest you to watch the old Zoom video that I reposted, and also look at my notes. I do have notes that is from, especially with the examples here. So make sure you look at the notes that that you need help with. That will really help you with it. Okay. Anyone have any questions for me here before we end the Zoom meeting today? Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing here, and I'm gonna stop recording.